Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. Today, this one could cause some trouble. So today's National Women's Health and Fitness Day. And if any of the guys are listening and you mention that, the lady in your life needs to get a little more fit, it could cause some serious bad health for you. So I'm just gonna report suggest against that. Yeah, not a good idea. So let's just go to the one that's safe. Today, having beaten anorexia, National Cherries Jubilee Day. Now, I happen to like Cherries Jubilee. The rest of my family, for the most part, doesn't. Put a little whipped cream on top of that, it'll be even better. But and I am a odd individual, which many people that know me well will concur with that one.
I got a bad feeling about this.
So I take and substitute the vanilla ice cream and put in there some chocolate ice cream. I am a chocoholic, so it's National Cherries Jubilee Day. Let's see what's going on in the world today. Let's see what the markets will start out there, as we always do. We've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That one's down 117 points. We've got the NASDAQ down 128. We've got the S&P 500 is down 21. Oil up $1.34 a barrel.
Ow!
Yeah, we don't like that. But let's also take a look and see, do we want to see what gas prices are doing? Well, they're only up a penny here in the formerly Golden State. Let me just make sure that I've got that refreshed on my screen, because the numbers look a lot like what I saw when we were here before the holiday. Let's see what we're at right now. That the gas price is $465.2. So about a year ago, we were at $473.3. National average, $316.3. And yes, of course, we are still number one in the country. Probably not one of those that we want to be number one in, but we are nevertheless. Let's see what else we've got going on. I get. Did you watch the Jimmy Kimmel show last night? Well, not too many people watch Jimmy Kimmel anymore. His ratings are down dramatically. But the question is, so Kimmel doesn't get it, and that's part of the problem when you don't understand what's going on and you're only geared with ideological number or data. So why do I say Kimmel doesn't get it? Well, his comments were that he was being erased or put down by comments from the president. But let's see. ABC reinstates him, but Sinclair and Nexstar don't. Now, Sinclair is the one that, you got to wonder, because those are the customers of ABC. So when they're saying, and they're the biggest of the affiliates. So how does it work? So ABC has certain stations that they broadcast on themselves. If you're in a big market, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, I don't know if Vegas is a direct ABC or not, but if you're in one of those direct areas where ABC has the network, well, you were able to watch Jimmy Kimmel last night. If you were in a Sinclair area, when you were serviced by a Sinclair affiliate or a Nexstar affiliate, well, they said they were not going to take the Jimmy Kimmel show. They were going to run local news again. So ABC's biggest customers have not reinstated Jimmy Kimmel. Now, I don't know if they're going to or they're not going to. They said that they had to hear an apology. I don't know if what we heard last night was an apology or not, or was it a forced statement that ABC mandated in order for him to get his job back? I don't know. But I do know that the ratings on Jimmy Kimmel's show have dropped dramatically. You think about it, a show like that gets just barely 1 million viewers a night. Just barely 1 million viewers a night. So not good news for Jimmy Kimmel. I wonder if those affiliates don't take him back, then you're going to find it's going to be very challenging for ABC to keep him. And we'll see what happens. We'll watch it. We got a lot of news coming out. We're watching the new home sales. Massive increase in new home sales. So we're going to see that, and we're going to also watch what's going on with all these Fed speakers. And later this week on Friday, we're actually going to get the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. The personal consumption expenditures number comes out on Friday. So we're going to watch that one as well. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, got a lot of stuff on tap for you today. Elevator economics, what market free falls tell us. The $100,000 timing mistake 79% of homeowners make, how to avoid it. And yes, indeed, we've got a warning. Parents who skip this insurance review risk financial ruin. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Michael, I love your suggestion right there. Glad they took Jimmy Kimmel off the air. They should have had Adam Carolla from The Man Show. I like Adam Carolla. I think he does a good job. I think he's actually funny. I don't see Kimmel as funny, but I'm probably not his demographic. I guess I should try and get that comment off too, because we don't want to leave that on there all day. Okay, let's Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/mobile app. rsrlinks.com/mobile app. And every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They only tell us the number you need to put in your mortgage calculator to determine what your principal and interest payment will be. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, get it. It's free. rsrlinks.com/mobile app. Rates yesterday, mixed. Conventional 30-year fix, 6.285. That was down. Jumbo 30-year fix, 6.532. That was down. FHA 30-year fix, 6.134. That was up. VA 30-year fix, 5.857. That was up. And the USDA 30-year fix, 6.082. That was down. And, just remember, if you were quoted a number that's different than what you're seeing on this chart, I don't know your situation, but I do know that you have an option. We do a second look for free. rsrlinks.com/2ND look. That'll be rsrlinks.com/second look, 2ND look. So you can go right there and take a second look at whatever we're looking at, either on your new home purchase, on a refinance, any kind of strategy. We've got it all available for you right there. And also, don't forget, we put our thoughts out each and every business day morning as early as the data allows. rsrlinks.com/HBOD, rsrlinks.com/HBOD. What are the markets doing today? That's why you tune in, and not because I just give you all these numbers, because you can get those on the super secret website, google.com. Although I don't know if I'm the only one, but to me, Google's getting very, very frustrating. I think frustrating is a good word. I went to look something up on Google yesterday, and I think the first 5 or 6 or 7 items that come up are ads. So I didn't recognize it right away. So I clicked it, and then all of a sudden I start getting all these pop-ups. Am I the only one noticing that? It's easier for me now. I just go to ChatGPT, I use all of them. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, all AI devices. And I'm finding they're to me, I get the data that I want a lot quicker, a lot easier. But let's look anyway. The 10-year Treasury is now up 3.5 basis points, 4.139. It's been fighting with a Fibonacci level, a level of support or resistance, depending upon where it goes. So we're watching that one for you. We're also looking at the mortgage bond. That's down 10 basis points this morning. When that bond goes down, that means interest rates go up. So we're watching that very, very closely. But why is all of this happening? Well, new home sales exploded ahead of decline in rates. So before we get to that, Fed Chair Powell spoke yesterday.
Such an idiot. Such an idiot.
4.5 years he's been wrong now. So I wonder why we think he's going to get it right now. While he did not give us much new commentary, he may have given us some clues to Friday's important personal consumption expenditures report. Powell said that headline PCE was 2.7 and core was 2.9 in August. This is important because estimates are around 2.8% on headline and 2.9 on core. So a lower headline than expected and inline core reading could be beneficial for the markets. New home sales measures signed contracts on new homes rose almost 21% to an 800,000 unit annualized pace in August, which was much stronger than estimates of 665,000. The previous report was revised higher, and when calculating the increase from the original reported figure, sales were up 23%. Yahoo! It's important to note that these are signed contracts in August. While rates fell compared to July, it's before rates fell much further in September. This was an exceptionally strong report and the highest level of sales since January 2022 on a year-over-year basis. Sales are now up 15% with lower rates and the Fed set to cut. We think there will be more housing activity and home sales, but we just have to wait. Median home price was reported at $414,000, up 5% from the previous month and 2% year over year. Remember, median home sales means absolutely nothing. It just tells us about the mix of homes for sale. And when I spoke to the late Essie Adibi about why they use it, he said consistency. They've always used it, so they keep on using it. There were 490,000 new homes for sale at the end of August, but that's only a slight decline from the 497,000 in July. The pace of sales increase really drove down the month supply from 9 months to 7.4. The Mortgage Bankers Association reported that application volume was little change from last week, with purchases flat and refinances up 1%, but it's important to look at more than just the week-to-week percentage change. The previous week saw the highest level of applications since 2022, and the fact that volume remained there was a very good thing. This is now the second week in a row with very strong application. Rates were reported at 6.34% last week, but that's still almost 25 basis points higher than this time last year. But there were 30% more applications, which speaks to the continued pent-up demand that has been growing. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/mobile app, rsrlinks.com/mobile app. And hey, don't forget, if you want to see why people are refinancing at certain times, well, it's because they know what their number is. And you could too if you followed our guidance, rsrlinks.com/what's your number. Not an interest rate, but a number, dollars and cents. What would make sense for you to lower your interest rate? rsrlinks.com/what's your number. So that's just some of that information there for you. But let's take a look. Warning. That's the good one. Let me find that article here for you. Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by gethomeselect.com, gethomeselect.com. The day you become a parent, you instantly become underinsured, even if you thought you had everything covered. I'm Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping people build wealth through strategic debt management. Let me share a story that'll illustrate this perfectly. Last month, I had a couple come to see me. Call them Sarah and Mike. They just had their first baby and thought they were doing great financially. Good jobs, nice house, even had some life insurance. But here's what they didn't realize. Having a baby didn't just add joy to their lives, it multiplied their financial obligations by about 10. Think about it this way. Before kids, if something happened to one spouse, the other could downsize, maybe move in with a family, take a lower paying job. Not ideal, but manageable. After kids, everything changes. Now you've got daycare costs, college to think about. And if you're a single parent, your earning power might actually go down because you can't work those extra hours or take that promotion that requires travel. So what does this mean for you? First, let's talk about life insurance. Most parents focus on the working spouse, the breadwinner. But here's something most people miss. What's the economic value of the stay-at-home parent? If something happened to the parent who handles childcare, school pickup, cooking, cleaning, the surviving parent would need to hire a nanny, housekeeper, maybe even a driver. We're talking to $40,000 to $60,000 a year in services that parent was providing for free. Second issue, your homeowner's insurance. When you had no kids, you probably owned a couch, a TV, maybe some jewelry. Now, every room has toys, electronics, clothes that cost more than your old wardrobe. Plus, your income's probably grown, which means liability exposure has grown too. Here's what really gets me fired up, though. Disability insurance. Everyone thinks about life insurance when kids come along. But what about if you become disabled and can't work? You're still alive, still have all those expenses, but now you have no income and potential medical costs on top. And don't get me started on auto insurance when your teenager starts driving. That's a whole different conversation about risk management. Here's the thing. And this ties into everything. I teach about strategic debt management. You need to look at the total household cash flow impact, not just individual policies. Strategy beats rate always. It's not about buying the cheapest insurance or even the most insurance. It's about creating a strategy that protects your ability to build wealth for your family's future. I had another client tell me, Ron, I thought insurance was just something you had to buy. I didn't realize it was actually part of my wealth building strategy. That's exactly right. When you evaluate your insurance through the lens of safety, liquidity, and return, the same framework we use for all financial decisions, you start to see how the right coverage actually accelerates your wealth building by protecting the foundation. So what should you do? Start with a complete household cash flow analysis. Look at what would really happen if various scenarios occurred. Don't just guess at coverage amounts. Calculate them based on your actual financial obligations and goals. And remember, this isn't about being scared into buying more insurance. It's about being strategic. Some families are overinsured in certain areas and dangerously underinsured in others. The goal is to protect your family's ability to build wealth no matter what life throws at you. Bottom line, if you want to see how this applies to your specific situation, I've put together the key steps for you at rsrlinks.com/keysteps. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. I'll walk you through essential steps for evaluating your household risk and show you where you might have gaps in your insurance coverage. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. This is Ron Siegel reminding you that when it comes to protecting your family's financial future, strategy beats rate always. That's the Borrow Smart segment brought to you by GetHomeSelect.com. GetHomeSelect.com. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, why buyers and sellers face different conditions today, elevator economics, what market free falls tell us, and the $100,000 timing mistake 79% of homeowners make, and how to avoid it. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Why today buyers and sellers face different conditions today? There's a new divide in housing right now. In some states, buyers are gaining ground, and other sellers still have the upper hand. It all depends on where you live. Curious what's happening in your state? The 3 maps show how the split is playing out across the country in each one. Do we have? Yeah, we have the maps there. Darker shades of blue, buyer friendly. Lighter shades of blue, seller strong. Inventory sets the stage. While the number of homes for sale has improved pretty much across the board, how much growth we've seen can look dramatically different based on where you live, and that impacts who has the leverage today. Again, if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 or FM 98.1 video feed, you are seeing that map of inventory growth varying by states. While the number of homes for sale has improved pretty much across the board, how much growth we've seen can look dramatically different based on where you live, and that impacts who has the leverage today. The map uses data from Realtor.com to break it down. The darker shades of blue show where inventory has risen more than in other areas of the country. Buyers have more to choose from and should have an easier time finding a home and leveraging their negotiating power. The lighter shades of blue are where the inventory is still low. Sellers are more likely to sell quickly and make fewer concessions. I guess we're in kind of the lighter area of the map. Second map tracks how home prices are shifting by state, just like above in the earlier chart. You can see the divide taking shape. Many of the same areas are in darker blue. That's because there's such a close tie between inventory and prices. When inventory rises, prices moderate. The darker shades of blue are where prices are actually coming down slightly or flattening, because the more homes for sale sellers may have to cut their price or throw in concessions to get a deal done, and that benefits budget-conscious buyers. The lighter shades of blue show areas where prices are still climbing because inventory is low. Sellers may still see buyers competing for homes, and that pushes prices higher. And you can see that the price trends are different based on where you are. Time on the market tells the same story. Finally, here's how quickly homes are selling state by state. See the colors, for the most part, they follow the same general pattern, with a lot of the darker blues being in the lower half of the country, and here's why. Generally speaking, as inventory grows, homes don't sell as quickly. That's why some of the same areas that have more inventory see homes take more time to sell. The darker blues show where homes are staying on the market longer. That gives buyers more time and options and signals sellers may need to adjust their expectations. Don't forget about the buy down. Instead of lowering the price, increase the concessions. It's a 3-to-1 ratio, better for the seller, and it's still better for the buyer. rsrlinks.com/buydown. rsrlinks.com/buydown. The darker blue shows where homes are staying on the market longer. That gives buyers more time and options, and signals sellers may need to adjust their expectations. The lighter blues are where homes are still moving quickly. Sellers may feel more confident, and buyers may need to act fast. And if you want that chart of knowing what's the days on the market in your neighborhood, yes, we've got it for you. We've always offered that to you for free. rsrlinks.com/market report. rsrlinks.com/market report. So we've got that available for you as well. And we update that every week. Basically, the housing market has experienced a divide. The conditions are going to vary a lot based on where you live, where you're moving, and if you're buying or selling. While the state level information helps, what really matters is what's happening in your town and your neighborhood. And only a local agent truly has the information you need. Want to know what conditions look like in your neighborhood? Well, all you got to do is give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We will share that with you. If you want to know if you're ready to buy a house, rsrlinks.com/keysteps. rsrlinks.com/keysteps. It goes through and tells you if you are home buying ready. That is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. And make sure if you're thinking about buying or selling, you need our buyer's guides. We got the home buyer's guide, rsrlinks.com/HBG. Updated every quarter. rsrlinks.com/HBG. We've got the home seller's guide. rsrlinks.com/HSG. Updated every quarter. And you can find out about your value of your property. Once a month, we send you out a report. rsrlinks.com/homewealth. rsrlinks.com/homewealth. Lots of tools right there for you, and we give them all to you because that's what we do here on Ron Siegel Radio. This is not about us just making money, although we like to, but it's our mission on Ron Siegel Radio has always been to educate. That's what we really do here, is educating you all the time. And obviously, Key Steps is a key, I guess I shouldn't say that, is a serious focus of what we're doing with that. Let's see. Borrow Smart segment brought to you by GetHomeSelect.com, GetHomeSelect.com. A recent survey found that 79% of homeowners wish they'd sold their house sooner. Think about that for a second. Nearly 8 out of 10 people who sold their home have seller's remorse, but not the kind you'd expect. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Now, when most people think about seller's remorse, They picture someone who sold too quickly and lost money. But this survey tells a completely different story. These homeowners are saying, quote, I should have sold earlier, unquote. So what's really going on here? Let me share a story about a client I worked with last year. We'll call her Sarah. She'd been thinking about selling her Orange County home for 3 years. Every year she'd say, quote, maybe next year will be better. Meanwhile, her neighborhood was changing. Her property taxes kept climbing and maintenance costs were eating into her budget more each month. When Sarah finally decided to sell, she realized something important. All that equity sitting in her house wasn't working for her. It was just sitting there doing nothing while she paid taxes on it, insurance on it, and spent weekends fixing things instead of enjoying life. This is where most people get the timing question wrong. They're focused on the real estate market. Will prices go up or down? But that's only half the conversation. The real question is, what's the equity costing you while you wait? Here's what I mean. Let's say you have $200,000 in home equity. If you're paying property taxes, insurance, and maintenance, that's probably costing you $800 to $1,200 per month just to house that equity. That money could be working for you instead of just sitting there. But here's where it gets interesting from a strategic debt management perspective. Many of these homeowners who wish they'd sold sooner weren't just missing out on investment opportunities, they were also missing opportunities to improve their household's financial position. Think about it this way. If you're carrying credit card debt at 22%, a car loan at 8%, and maybe some other debt, while you have $200,000 sitting in your house earning zero, that doesn't make financial sense. Your household blended interest rate is working against you. If you don't know your household blended interest rate, give us a call at 800-306-1990, or you can just go to rsrlings.com/Sora, rsrlings.com/Sora. You do a 30-second mini app, and it kind of gives us an idea where you stand, and we can tell you what your blended household interest rate is approximately. Remember, strategy beats rate always, and sometimes the best strategy is recognizing when your biggest asset has become a financial aid anchor. Now, I'm not saying everyone should sell their house tomorrow. What I am saying is that you need to evaluate your situation through the lens of safety, liquidity, and return. How safe is all that equity tied up in one property? How liquid is it when you need cash for opportunities or emergencies? And what kind of return is it really generating after you account for all the costs, including your opportunity costs? Sarah's story had a great ending. Once she sold, she was able to pay off all her high-interest debt, buy a smaller place that fit her lifestyle, and still have money left over to invest. Her monthly cash flow improved by $1,400. That's real money back in her pocket every single month. So what does this mean for you? If you've been sitting on the fence about selling, ask yourself, what's it costing me to wait? Not just in potential market changes, but in real dollars flowing out of your household budget each month. The survey doesn't lie. 79% of people who sold wish they'd done it sooner. Don't let "I'd wish I'd sold sooner" become part of your story. If you're curious about how your income, your home equity fits into your overall financial strategy, I put together a simple analysis that walks you through the key steps to evaluate your current position and explore your options. You can check it out at rsrlinks.com/keysteps, rsrlinks.com/keysteps. Remember, it's not about timing the market perfectly. It's about making sure your money is working as hard as you do. I'm Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Until next time, this is the Borrow Smart segment brought to you by GetHomeselect.com, GetHomeselect.com. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, elevator economics, what market free falls tell us, all that and more. Reach me anytime, off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free. rsrlinks.com/debt-free. Elevator economics. What market free falls tell us. Picture this, you're in an elevator and the cables snap. What would you do? Most people think jumping at the last second will save them, but physics tells us a different story. And believe it or not, this connects directly to what's happening in our economy right now. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. You know, I was thinking about this connection between surviving an economic freefall and surviving an elevator crash. In both cases, preparation and the right strategy matter more than the last second panic moves. If you've ever in a free falling elevator, which thankfully is extremely unlikely, the best strategy isn't jumping at the last second. It's lying flat on your back to distribute the impact across your entire body instead of taking it all on your feet or head. Why I'm talking about elevators on a financial show? Because our job market is showing some concerning elevator-like behavior right now. That's something called the Private Payroll Diffusion Index, which measures how many industries are actually adding jobs. Think of it like this. When the economy is healthy, job growth is spread across many different sectors. But when this index drops below 50%, it means less than half of all industries are growing. Here's the scary part. In August, this index hit 48%. The last 4 times it dropped this dramatically in a 3-month period were June 2001, June 2008, July 2008, and August 2008. Every single one of those dates fell during a recession. But here's what's really interesting from a strategic debt management perspective. When these economic elevators start their free fall, the Federal Reserve typically cuts interest rates. History shows us that after similar warning signs, rates dropped 75 to 200 basis points. That's 0.75% to 2 full percent over the following months. So what does this mean for you? If you're sitting on high interest debt right now, credit cards, personal loans, or even a mortgage that's straining your budget, this could be the time to get strategic. Remember, strategy beats rate always, but when rates are potentially heading down, timing your debt restructuring becomes even more critical. Just remember, that's rsrlinks.com/2step. rsrlinks.com/2step. Let me share a quick story. I had a client last month who was paying 8.5% on their mortgage and carrying $45,000 in credit card debt at 24% interest. They kept waiting for rates to drop more before doing anything, but here's what we discovered. When we looked at their household blended interest rate, that's the weighted average of all their debt payments, they were paying over 18% on their total debt load. You can find that out, or we can help you with that at rsrlinks.com/Sora, rsrlinks.com/Sora. By repositioning their equity strategically, we dropped their household blended rate to under 7%, even in today's rate environment. That saved them $1,800 per month in cash flow. Even if rates drop another point in the coming months, they're already $18,000 ahead just from the first year. The key is understanding that your mortgage rate is only one part of the conversation. What really matters is how much money is actually coming out of your household budget each month. When economic indicators start flashing red like they are now, you cannot afford to wait and see what happens. just like in that elevator, the time to position yourself properly is before impact, not during the fall. Bottom line, if you want to see exactly how strategic debt repositioning could work for your situation, especially with potential rate cuts on the horizon, two sources for you. Visit rsrlinks.com/keysteps, rsrlinks.com/keysteps to see our key steps analysis, and rsrlinks.com/Sora, rsrlinks.com/Sora, S-O-R-A, to determine how much money you could save. Don't wait for the economic elevator to hit bottom. Position yourself now while you still have options. Remember, in both elevators and economics, it's not about the fall, it's about how you prepare for the landing. Strategy beats rate always. Until next time, I'm Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. That is the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free, rsrlinks.com/debt-free. And as I mentioned during that last segment, you got to be looking at the two-step. Now is the opportune time because interest rates are fluctuating. Some of our refi booms are lasting 1 to 2 days right now. But it doesn't matter if you understand the strategy. You're going to go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's step one. It's actually not part of the steps, but rsrlinks.com/keysteps. We want to maximize your FICO scores. It'll tell you in there, once you give it, what your credit scores are. It doesn't tell you FICO, it tells you credit scores. It'll also has a simulator that'll tell you if you have $500, $1,000, $5,000, whatever, what you should do strategically to help your credit scores. Okay, so now we get into the two-step, rsrlinks.com/two-step. We're going to strategically redesign your household finances strategically. Now, what is that going to do? Well, we've got it in the mortgage process. What that does is there is a loan level price adjustment, an increase in your interest rate for a cash out refinance. We don't care because we are strategic. We're then going to wait 6 to 12 months because the strategies that we designed with you in that first step of getting rid of your debt should help your FICO scores if you listen. It should help your debt to income ratio if you listen. And then we're going to refinance when it's strategic and interest rates are lower because you've got a better FICO score and you've got potentially, and you've got it getting rid of that cash out hit, loan level price adjustment. So you benefit. So go to rsrlinks.com/two-step and you can deal with all of that right there. rsrlinks.com/two-step. As always, we suggest set your first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks, as always, thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
You want to take that last bit again? You said we're going to be right back. Ron,
What?
you said we're going to be right back. Do you want to change that to?
Yep. As always, we suggest set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel.